Watching this whole Goonergate thing unfold should be a cautionary tale to every group that is currently doing this kind of stuff or is planning on doing this kind of stuff. Look around you. The people you're working with, the people that you are associated with, they're not your friends. They're not your buddies. They're not your allies. Once you guys reach whatever the goal is that you're trying to reach, you're going to start turning on each other. It is going to happen. When you have this much ideological belief, this much narrative that you have to hold on to, eventually you will turn on each other. In this very quick video, I'm going to explain to you how this was inevitable, why I believe this was going to happen a year ago, and why it will always happen to groups that like bolster their numbers, like the Gamergate, Geeks and Gamers, Fandom Menace, Quartering, Nerdrotic community. When you do stuff like this, this will always be the end result. So JDA, Melanie Mac, John F. Trent, Bounding into Comics, Fandom Pulse at Park Place, Razor Fist Quartering, they're all doing like this extreme religious angle now. They've all turned from like Stellar Blade should be supported because there should be no censorship on asses and boobs to like, we don't want any sort of degenerate stuff in our media. That's where we're at. And so SmashJT and JDA have been publicly fighting. And I have to admit, JDA is getting called out by everybody. And that's always fun to see. It's always fun to see when somebody doing shitty stuff gets called out. It's always great. But here was a post made by JDA. It says, had a great chat with SmashJT earlier. Everything is good. We have a huge opportunity to really end the woke mind virus once and for all, and we are making progress. As a community, we need to focus on what matters and removing the real enemy of DEI in gaming, which is ridiculous because we're already seeing that stuff crumble. All of that stuff is crumbling. That's why this is happening. Everything that they've been asking for is starting to be handed to them, and they don't know what else to do. So they have to create problems, even more so than they were before. Before, they were actually using things as boogie people, but now they're having to continue this sort of grifty behavior, even though we're seeing this sort of castle fall down. The DEI stuff that they're complaining about is starting to fall down. You know, we're seeing Disney walk away from stuff, Amazon walk away from stuff, Facebook walk away from stuff, Instagram, etc. It's still not enough for these guys. And that's why all of this infighting was inevitable. But more on that in a second. SmashJT responded to this. He said, my stance has not changed at all, and this tweet is disingenuous at best. We chatted, I'm willing to hear people out, saying everything is good, LOL, WTF, okay, my guy. This whole situation is weird as fuck. If acknowledging you via DMs is enough for everything to be good, then okay. So I don't know what was said in DMs. There's a video we're gonna watch, a very short video here in a second. But this is always who JDA has been. And we've tried to tell a lot of you guys that we thought were more rational individuals, that you were buddying up, you were inviting people into the car with you that are unhinged. JDA is one of them. Melanie Mac is one of them. There are certain people in this community that are just, it's scumbag behavior. It's behind the scenes behavior. It's always been that way with these guys. This is nothing new. We've talked about this. But you guys chose to ignore it because spiting our community is more important to you than actually making changes in your community. The people around you are not your buddies. Remember, I said that earlier. Let's watch his video and see what he had to say about this.
I find it curious that John Delarose seemed to think that DMing me was going to be a good idea to try to resolve this conflict. Like, that's not how this works. You are a weirdo, furry Christian zealot that's trying to inject censorship in all places.
That is exactly what we have been saying. But when we say it, we're wrong. We're the bad guys when we say this. This has been part of the issue we've had for a long time, is this overreach of censorship into everything based on Christian values that not everybody believes in, or at least not to the degree that these guys believe in. But you guys kept overlooking it because you needed the numbers, you needed the support, and you were willing to overlook these things. And now, look where we are. Look where we're at, SmashJT.
Especially video games and banning pornography. And you stand for a lot of things that I don't stand for. And you know what? That's fine. You're welcome to your position. just like anyone else is welcome to their other positions. It's fine. It's totally fine. And we're talking about it, debating it publicly. And you objectively were getting your ass kicked publicly. So then you come into DMs and start talking to me, and I'm busy actually, doing work and covering shit. Don't have time to deal with your bullshit that you're throwing out there. Whatever. It is what it is. I acknowledge you. We chat briefly, ever so briefly. And I just acknowledge you. And then you just go spout that everything's fine. We're good. We resolved it behind the scenes and we chat.
This is not unusual behavior for this unhinged individual. That's why this is so predictable. This is, and there's other creators. I have to give people credit. There were other creators in your space that talked about doing anything with him, being aligned with him at all. And a lot of people just kept ignoring it because of having a Substack website type thing where you could go and get your anti-woke information. That's why it's so dangerous to align yourself with people that are not truly part of your community. When you guys come in and you're like, we're going to go against the woke and we're willing to let anybody into the car without vetting them for anything because we just need that narrative. The ends justify the means kind of situation. You fuck around and you find out. Let's continue.
And we're good. Bro, why do you come to my DMs when you're getting your asses kicked to you publicly? Like coming to my DMs and then trying to pretend like you somehow won and we came to some sort of agreement? That didn't happen. This is some sort of like false fantasy reality that you're...
I mean, it's almost like a lot of my folks were saying this and you guys keep ignoring it. The cognitive dissonance is incredible in this clip. If we said any of this stuff, you would have had his back. You would have supported him. But now that everything is coming into your yard, into your backyard, now that this stuff is affecting you, now it's an issue. Now it's a problem. More on that in a second.
You're living in. Nothing changed, dude. You still stand for these things that I strongly disagree with. And I am going to be fighting against that just as much as I fight against the wokies. So it is what it is, man.
All right, so let's have a discussion about this. We're going to wrap this video up. I'm gonna lay it all out for you here. So one thing, we'll start out with the first thing, is anytime people in my community, or as he would call the wokies, said that, hey, some of the folks in your group are extremists and you need to look out for them because all the things they're saying equal these other things. It was never just about gay people. It was never just about trans people or black people or women. It was never about those things. Those were part of the things, but it was never about those things. So all the stuff that you guys thought you were signing up for when you aligned with these guys, you didn't realize that the whole time their behavior was saying something else because you were too blinded with getting to the finish line. You were too blinded with achieving your goal to see that there were other things happening. So when people like me come along and say, hey, Melanie Mac is a problem. Hey, JDA is a problem. Hey, this person's a problem. That person's a problem. We're not saying these things because we are the enemy that you've made us out to be. We look at behaviors and patterns and go, this could lead to something worse. And that brings me to the second part of this, which is the actual situation that's happening. So now that DEI is crumbling and it's dead and all these companies are getting rid of it, congratulations, you have achieved your goal. I would say the vast majority of these guys, if you take every argument they have over the last couple years, it's been about DEI. It's been about diversity, equity, inclusion, and we're seeing that kind of dismantle. And so now that that has been achieved, not completely, but it's moved along for them very rapidly here the last couple weeks. Now that's been achieved, the next step is obvious, which is now the smaller subgroups want their goals achieved as well, whatever those were. And for the guys in like the Melanie Mac JDA camp, it is about enforcing religious control. And that means coming for all the things that they were siding with you last year, like the Stellar Blade stuff and all that. They were siding with you on that because they saw an opportunity to latch onto you because their community wasn't big enough by itself to make any of these things happen. So they used you and you used them, and now they are making the first strike. A lot of the people that you use to legitimize your communities, like people like Melanie Mac, oh, she's one of the good ones. She's a girl that's one of the good ones because she doesn't want like gay people. Let her F-slur. Let her do all these things. All of these unhinged things that we told you guys was going to be a problem. Now it is coming back to bite you in the ass. This is why a lot of times we say going along with whatever people are saying and just riding along as part of a marginalized community in a larger group is not going to get you anywhere. It's not going to get you anywhere because what's going to happen is eventually someone is going to turn on you or you're going to have to turn on them. That's just the reality of it. That's why a lot of this was inevitable. So we're in a situation now where you are feeling the effects of all of the shit that you did to us coming back to bite you. And I have no empathy or sympathy for anybody who put themselves in this position. I am simply here watching this and pointing this out as a cautionary tale. If you are part of one of these groups that wants to take things away from people, to be spiteful, to control people, to remove adult content from things that are rated mature, simply because you don't want them to see it, if you are one of those people, this is always going to be the end result. It is better off if you just don't engage in the stuff that you don't want to engage in. If you don't want to buy a game because it has gay stuff in it, don't buy it. But to go on some crusade to go after all gay people because of this will ultimately end to this because there's not enough of you guys individually in your small communities to make a difference. So you have to gang up on people. You have to bully up on people, and they're always going to come back, and the leopard is always going to eat your face. It's always going to happen. This is the end result. Point blank, period.